What's up, everybody? We're here on Pacific Inlet, and this is sort of my countdown to Farming Simulator 19 video series, I suppose. I know I'm right in the middle of high-speed logging number 8. I've got, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours of gameplay. Only like, I go to 20 every time, so I got a little ways to go. But in case you haven't seen this yet, this is FDR's latest monstrosity creation. This is a processor loader forwarder, and I can't quite decide how I want to use this thing. I mean, it's good at what it does. The only downside to it is if you try to use it as a forwarder, the logs tend to want to slide off of this. If you're not perfectly level, see, we're not sitting on exactly level ground right now, and if I were to put some logs on there and not strap them down and then start moving the cab, see how the back end of it kind of shakes around a little bit. I'll zoom in a little bit and see if maybe it's a little bit more evident. You see how it's barely kind of shaking? Well, any kind of movement on the cab will cause those logs to go slipping off of there. So what I've discovered you have to do is you have to really be quick on the straps. Like you put a couple cut pieces on there, strap them down real quick, and then once you get the bottom layer on there and strapped down, it's pretty easy from there. They won't slide much. So you just process the trees onto the log base that's already down there, and then just, I've got a button mapped on my joystick, so I just go, I don't know if you, let's see, is it, yeah, it shows it. Okay, so I just boom, boom, you know, I can pretty quickly switch between straps, and we'll see that here in a minute. I'll fire this thing up and we'll get to cutting. The other thing that's kind of goofy about this is the back wheels don't turn, and it's not articulated, so it kind of, the back end just kind of slides around, which is kind of weird. But I think somebody had asked him if he could make the back tires turn, which would be a good idea. Alright, so let me show you how this thing works. So it actually works pretty good as a processor. You know, it'll give you your when you get it just right on the little display up there, it'll tell you, like right now it says 354, so I know I can go ahead and cut. And I'll just grab the trees, and then it just doesn't really matter what side you go on, but uh-oh. Well, I messed that up. I couldn't tell where it was at. Alright, so I'll just cut it, and then you gotta quickly strap it. See? Oh, yeah, the other thing is if you get the log too close, it wants to grab the piece that you haven't cut yet. So you kind of got to watch that, but if you can ever get it just right, yeah, and those are kind of sticking out just a little bit too far, so I'll just unstrap them and give them a little bump. And you can probably see what I'm talking about whenever I'm moving this cab around. How see the logs are kind of, oh, see, they're already kind of wanting to slide. So that's one downside of this, but there's not really that many downsides other than the wheels, it turns funny. The back end just slides around. And the forwarder part of it, the rack back there, it sort of wants to move around on you pretty good. Other than that, it's not a bad little machine. But like I said, I can't quite decide if I want to use it as the forwarder or leave it at the landing as like a mobile sort of like a mobile processor slash loader, and just skid the logs up to it. You know, I just can't quite decide how I want to use this thing. But see, once you get a few on there, you can kind of if you're careful and not move your cab around too much, it'll act pretty good. See, I'll just, before I move off, I'll just unstrap and restrap. And then everything pretty well stays put. Yeah, so, I mean, you can see when you're on uneven ground, I mean, the least little bit of movement, it's rocking back there, so. You'll get frustrated pretty quick if you try to leave them unstrapped. You will end up with logs all over the place. And the other thing too is you got to watch to make sure that you're in open ground, because anybody that's played Farming Simulator 17 much with forestry, you know that the tips of those trees, if they touch anything, they'll go crazy on you. Just like that. I need to get it on the other side of that tree. Oops, I went too far. And too far again. There, maybe that'll work. Yeah, and see, I've got all the big ends on the right side of the cage or rack or whatever, so I kind of need to alternate them too. But if you get the tree up, like this little piece right here, if you get it far enough away from the straps and then just unstrap, restrap real quick, it'll work. It's really frustrating whenever you're either trying to finish up the cut or you get that last little piece of that tree and you strap it too quick and that little piece gets hung up on the in the straps, like it'll be hanging in the mid-air. Yeah, but see, it works pretty good if you can just real quickly unstrap and restrap. But if you're into forwarders and you want sort of an all-in-one kind of machine, this is it right here. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. Because this thing cuts pretty good and it actually loads pretty good. We'll see that in a minute. When I get this bunk back here loaded up, we'll head back up to the landing, or where the truck is anyway, and try to do a little loading with it, and you can see how well it works. So I guess anyway, this is sort of a mini mod review. I don't like messing with those little small pieces anyway, so I'll just get rid of them. Yeah, like I said, the toughest part is actually getting everything started on this bunk. If you can ever get those that base level of trees strapped in, then you're good, because nothing will move around when you're loading the next you know, the next layer, I guess, of trees. Yeah, and I figured that was going to happen. There was a couple trees there too close to each other. And see, even once you get a few trees in there, they don't want to move around too much. They will start to move around, but not near as much as just on that bare metal. And it looks like I've got to cut this one off just a little bit higher here. Oops. Well, I'm doing nothing but pushing myself away. Yeah, but see, that's working pretty good. It'll hold a good bit of wood. I think that's not quite one bunk on the truck over there, but it's half to 3/4. If I fill it all the way up, I can put a few more logs on there. Let's go over here to this big tree. Try to get it loaded up, and looks like I can put maybe some more towards the back. And after we get this this thing here loaded up, what I want to do is I'm gonna hop in the why didn't that cut? There it goes. I want to hop in the drone and kind of fly around to give you an idea of what all we've cut. Well, really, this was the first logging map, I believe, that came out for Farming Simulator 17. I could be wrong about that. There could have been others that I just didn't know about. But you know, if you've watched my videos much, you know I'm not a huge fan, but I'm a pretty big fan of FDR's work. I really think he's stepped up his game, definitely, from the start of Farming Simulator 17 till now. He's got some help with all the modding and the AO baking and stuff that they do in Blender that's really cool. There it goes. Oh, okay, yeah, that was starting to hop around on me. So, I probably was a bit oblivious starting Farming Simulator 17 just because I wasn't a member of very many of the, like the logging Facebook pages and stuff, and even to some extent the YouTube channels. Let's see if I can't get that to... There we go. So there probably were some other logging maps out there early on in Farming Simulator 17 I just wasn't aware of. But I tended to follow FDR pretty close, and so stayed up to date on all his stuff. But anyway, Farming Simulator, Pacific Inlet was probably one if not the very first logging maps that I got into on Farming Simulator 17, and so what I did was start a series, and if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it, on Pacific Inlet, and I was trying to cut down the whole map, and we'll see that here in a minute when I do my drone flyover, kind of give you an idea of where we're at and what all we've cut. It's quite a bit, actually. You know, I don't play on this every day, so it's just sort of like we'll say between 20 and 30 hours every couple of months or so. It takes me a couple months to get another high-speed logging video put together. And some of these guys that play multiplayer, I mean, they probably cut it down and replanted it by now, you know, but I just don't have that kind of time to be able to put into that. I've got almost 400 hours. I think I've got about 340 something. Well, let's look. Well, it doesn't show it here. Well, maybe it does over here on the stats. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so 336 hours plus. Well, 336 and a half, close enough. So almost 340 hours, getting pretty close. Alright, so loading. Let's look at loading. Let me get this unstrapped. I'll show you how that works. So here's again where you have to be a little bit careful, unstrapping this stuff. You have to be pretty precise in what you're doing. You can pick up quite a bit though, and that's kind of nice. You definitely have to make sure, because you're usually not going to get it loaded just right on the back of this thing, so you kind of have to make sure you bunch them up pretty good. So when you do put them onto the trailer, you know, you got a nice even stack of logs there. Alright, that's pretty good. Yeah, I hate to try to mess with it too much. So you can see that was almost half, maybe that was about a third, I guess. You can get about a third of a load, I guess, in one grab. And I did forget to strap that down a minute ago. You know, I thought at first that the processor head might get in the way, but I'm not really even sure that there's collisions on that. Let me see if I can carefully see if there's collisions on it or not. Okay, so the green part, there is. The silver part, you can see it going right through there, so there's not. The rollers don't do anything. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and strap that second bunk down. We're good with there. Alright, so that's kind of enough about this green monstrosity. And I need to get those lights turned off too, not that it really matters. Let's see, I'm going to find my drone. Probably went the wrong way. There it is. So we're just going to get up here a little ways and we'll go look around. Not even sure. Oh, I remember where I'm at. Okay. Yeah, so I really don't even need to show all this off. I think I showed this off in the last video, the aftermath, I believe, of high-speed login number 7. And you can kind of see around these ponds some of those lighter colored trees. Those are those trees that have the red rings on them, and those are our boundary trees. We're going to leave a few trees around some of the water features for, you know, wildlife and shading the pond and that sort of thing that you would normally do in real life. Boy, I tell you. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's do this. I'm going to reset this thing because it's fairly slow. There we go. That'll get us back to the shop anyway. Be a little bit closer. Okay, so I believe in high-speed login number 6, I think it was, maybe the tail end of 5 into 6. We were over there at landing number 1. You can see we're flying just south of there right now, and we cut basically from the I guess it'd be the north side of I don't know if you can barely see that tractor down there. We kind of cut that way and then back to the west, and then all back around this way. And you know, back toward, we had already cut a little bit at the near the sawmill, but back around all this way, all it's been cut. There's a few trees left to pick up. We'll get those at some point. And so what we're cutting this time with high-speed login number 8 is I moved everything up here where all the green and yellow dots are. Is pretty much where our landing is. And if you see the green dot as we're moving across the map, this little point right here we're just crossing over now on the mini-map, that's basically the boundary of where we sort of started cutting. And this is kind of a big area. So we started here, well really we started on up that way, but anyway, this is, you know, the southern tip of it, I guess. And we are going to go up this road, and you can see a bunch of trees down there. I got to get all that This is a pretty big area too. So what I started off doing was I just took a fellow buncher, and if you look out there in the distance, you can kind of see kind of a tan blob or whatever. That's that wood chip pile, and that's sort of near the some equipment just came into view just to the right of that equipment. That's near our landing. Actually, the landing is that big brown circular looking spot there. So I cut from there up to this road, and you can kind of see I haven't cut much in this area, but as we get on a little closer, you can see a few trees down there in the valley that we've knocked down. And what I started off doing was using FDR's forestry helicopter to lift them out, and that worked pretty good. But and I may still use it for some of this stuff because it's pretty rough terrain in there. You can see a few more trees, some of the smaller ones that I didn't get. Let me take us up just a little bit more. And if you see there, those trees that are still standing right in front of us, that's the boundary of where I cut to. So I basically went up to this road, almost to this landing up here at, number 6. Almost went to there. And what I may do is, whenever we get finished with all this down here, I may move the equipment up to here to landing number 6 and finish up what's left back this way that's still on the ground. And you can see my cut line that I came up. So we still got a few. There's a bunch of little small trees in there. I may just whack them down and chip them up. Not much fool with, but all these trees on this ridge, we'll have to get all that. But you can see we've cut quite a bit. There's not a whole lot standing. Oops. There's not a whole lot standing in this area that's away from all the rugged terrain. You can see I've got a bunch of trees skidded up there. Still got a bunch to load. And I pretty much took away my other truck to test out that monstrosity from FDR. And I was waiting on the wood chips or the timber prices or whatever, the wood chip prices at the sawmill to go into great demand. And so I ran out of wood chip storage. I've got, I think there's now 4 1 million liter wood chip storage facilities at the sawmill, and I filled them all up. And so I started dumping them on the ground with the anticipation of using the excavator or bucket loader or whatever to load them up into a truck. And the sawmill finally did go into great demand. You'll see that in high-speed logging number 8. I spent, gosh, no telling how many, probably hours unloading all 4 million liters of those things. So now we're to the point where we're back to starting to fill them up, and we'll wait for the sawmill to go into great demand unless we just absolutely run out of wood chip storage, which I guess we could just put them back on the ground like we did back up there. Just leave them on the ground, then we'll try to, I guess, wait for the great demand again. That actually works out pretty good. If you wait for the sawmill to go into great demand, you can really make some money, because what I'm using is those 70,000 liter wood chip trailers, and if you wait till the sawmill goes into great demand, you'll get about, I think, almost $24,000 per trailer full of the 70,000 liters. So it adds up in a hurry. You can see we've got 2.5 million, and I don't remember how much we had before it went into great demand. You'll just have to watch the video and find out. And so we're back to the little tip of the triangle, sort of, so to speak. So you can kind of see what we're cutting now, what we got left. We got actually a fair amount left. There's not just a whole lot left. So I'm pretty confident that it won't take much longer. Probably high-speed logging number 9. At the end of that one, we'll probably have all this cut, I hope, and we can move on to somewhere else. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun. I've kind of been trying to test out using a forwarder, because we do kind of get up into some rugged terrain in there, and although the skidder can probably handle it, I was just kind of testing out, and I thought this might be a good option with this green beast, because it will process, load, and forward all at the same time, sort of. So I mean, you could theoretically, I guess, go in with a fella buncher, and if it's not too rugged terrain, and just knock all the trees down, then come back with the green beast and process them and load them up all at the same time. But I don't know. It almost to me is kind of like double work, which I guess it really is, because you gotta process them and load them onto the forwarder, then drive them to a truck and unload them again. Whereas I guess with the skidder you can haul more wood up to the processor and then load it. But I don't know. I really kind of go back and forth on whether the forwarder's worth it or not. But it's kind of fun using the green beast. Okay, so I'm going to bring this drone in for a landing over here near the other beast, the real beast, this wood chipper. And I don't really want to, I don't know where to put this thing. I may just go ahead and reset it back to the... I'm probably just going to reset it back to the shop, because it'll be in the way right there. Alright. So let's get a little bit of wood chips done here. It's like that's empty, so I gotta get that fired up. Alright. Oops. It shouldn't take long to fill up this trailer. It was already about half full anyway. So that was about 20... Ooh, I'm not sure what happened there. Must have caught a stump. That was already about 25,000 just in those two trees, so it shouldn't take long. I guess that's filling up. Yeah, it's filling. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy what all we've cut here on Pacific Inlet. Just a single player, just myself playing over several videos, but it's yeah, it's full already. We've probably cut you know, half the map or more, or I guess I shouldn't say half. It's probably more like, I don't know, maybe a third. So if I hop out of here and we can kind of look at the map and kind of get pointed there. Okay, so from the sawmill in the bottom right corner of the map all the way up to Catsea Lake, the right hand side of the road, all that's been cut. Near Davison Lake, everything to the left of Davison Lake to the river, and then that little loop up there and a little bit north of the loop, most of that's been cut. Over near landing number 5 on the bottom, sort of bottom left, bottom middle left of the map, I've cut a good bit in there, not a whole lot. Up there where it says Conga River, to the left of that, I've cut some. And of course where we're at right now, well, around landing number 1, we've cut a good bit of that from about where it says number 1, a little to the left and then to the southwest, or I guess more south. Well, I guess southwest a little bit. We've cut a good area in there, and then of course where we're at right now, we've cut a good chunk of that. So we're making progress. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hop in this truck, and let's go ahead and get this load of wood chips stored, because we are definitely not in great demand anymore. The last time I checked the wood prices, it was way low, like $150 something or whatever. And whenever the sawmill went into great demand, I think it was 350 something or 60 something. So it really does jump up there when it goes into great demand. And also, while I'm driving, I just want to remind everybody to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can get my videos monetized again. And once we do that and I start generating some income, I'm going to start doing some random giveaways. It'll be things like dual joysticks, copies of the game, you know, just stuff like that. Maybe even a video monitor. Who knows? You know, it just depends on how much money I can get built up. And you know, I don't want to wait too long. I would like to do some giveaways. So I mean, just as soon as the money starts coming in again. Now I will say this: YouTube, in case you're not familiar with it, the way YouTube works is once your stuff is monetized, you don't and let's say it's been 2 months, all right, and so I've had, I don't know, we'll say 50,000 views. Well, let's say that generates $10. Okay, well, you don't get paid until you get to 100. So it's going to take a while to get that built up again. But once I do, you know, my plan is to do some random prize giveaways. And if you'd also like to support the channel in other ways, you can go check out the Patreon page. I've got a Patreon set up, and for $5 a month, what that gets you is early access to my, or not, I guess I shouldn't say early access, it gives you insider access to what I'm doing with the maps. I do plan on making some new maps for Farming Simulator 19 when it comes out and I get my hands on Giants Editor. I've got a couple of them that are, you know, in my mind that wouldn't be too bad to, you know, be fairly simple to get started right away. So I am planning on doing some more maps. And for $5 a month on Patreon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up some screenshots, some videos, possibly some live streams, that sort of thing. So the patrons will have early access to the information about the new maps. So it'll be kind of fun. I wanted to do some prize giveaways over there on Patreon, but Patreon actually contacted me and saw my post about prize giveaways, and they said, hey, you can't do that. So I was like, oops, I had to take that part down. Because the Patreon's supposedly set up kind of like Kickstarter, like, you know, you back a project and you have, for X number of dollars, you get a widget and a signed poster, and for X more dollars, you get 2 widgets and a signed poster. You know, it's supposed to be something for everybody that backs different levels of the project, and it's not supposed to be for random prize giveaways. But anyway, I totally understand and will follow by their rules. So that's what I'm going to do. If you're a Patreon member for $5 or more, then you will get insider information on the maps. There we go. And that's going to fill up that truck. Actually, what I want to do is I need to move this one tree. It's in the way. It's been in the way for a long time. I just haven't been able to get up here to grab it. That way I can pull in straight. Alright, that'll work. And if you haven't done so already, hit that bell notification on my channel. I'm planning on doing, hopefully every Thursday night, some live streams, which usually the best time works out for me is 6 p.m. Central. And as I'm recording this, I actually went live earlier tonight and didn't have, I mean, one person. I think at the most I had 2 people in there. But I don't know, I guess it's just bad timing or something for everybody. Usually I have several people that come in there and will chat with me and everything, but I guess everybody was busy tonight or something, or just couldn't make it. But I would like to get some folks in there to chat about Farming Simulator 19, which, by the way, I will be doing some live streaming next week. I'm going to be doing live streaming hopefully Tuesday afternoon if I can get in there and get everything installed. I think I'm supposed to be getting Farming Simulator 19 on Tuesday afternoon about 3 p.m. Central. I believe it comes out sooner for PC than it does console, because I believe it's midnight November 20th for console. But I saw where it was like, I think Pacific Standard Time, it was like early afternoon for PC players on the 19th. So we'll see. If not, then I'll just live stream on the 20th. And I may actually do like 2 live streams. And what I'm hoping to do is show off the forestry equipment, of course, because that's what we play. But you know, I may show off some of the farming stuff too. I don't know. It'll be kind of cool to see all that stuff, especially with John Deere in there. I'm not really a huge fan of John Deere, but I do. I have seen several of their tractors in the game already, and it does look pretty nice. It's very detailed. Oops. Just about wrecked. Alright, so now that I got that tree out of the way, I can just pull in straight, which will be nice. And of course I got too far away from the beast and it shut off. It's always fun. Oh wait, no, it is offloading. Okay, so it does offload when you don't have it turned on. That's good to know. Let's see. Well, I wonder why it's not showing anything going down. Does it actually hold more than 999,999 or whatever it is? 99,000? Maybe it does. Because there's already 40-something thousand in there, and it's... Oh, now it's finally going down. Okay. It must hold more than 99,000. Maybe that's just all the display goes up to, because... I've never actually even looked at that. I need to look at that in the XML. Well, I guess it doesn't matter now. I'm about to go over to 19, but I need to look at that in the XML and see what it does actually hold. I'd always stopped when I got to 99,999. Alright, let's see. I don't want to do wood chips the whole time, so let's go over here. Oh yeah, our truck's here. Okay, let's finish offloading this thing. Yeah, we should be good there. Yeah, so what's nice is I've got this strap tied to one of my joystick buttons. So that's nice. I can use that for my trucks too. Let's see if I just get far enough away, then lock it down real quick. Those trees will not go sliding around or anything. Yeah, and I always get too... I need to be right in the middle is where I want to be. Oops. Just about like that. There we go. Yeah, it's gonna kind of stink over there on Farming Simulator 19 for a little bit until some of the modders get some good mods out. Oh, I just got one left. I know FDR's got big plans for 19. He's got a team of modders now, and they're planning on going to town whenever 19 comes out, which I'm glad to see that, because he does make some good stuff. I mean, I do like my branded equipment, although a good many of, unfortunately, what you find on alright, that ain't, oops, yeah, that just ain't working. I'm going to have to back up a little bit. So some of the modders do, you know, good work on getting the model actually in game and looking good and all that, but a lot of times you'll find errors. I mean, they're just full of errors. So I just don't understand why they would release something that's got a bunch of errors in it. I just don't get it. But FDR stuff, you can pretty consistently, in fact, you can just about bet the farm that that there's not going to be any errors at all. You might get a warning or something, but there's usually not any errors. I don't remember ever seeing FDR equipment that's had an error. So that's why I like using them, because they just work. You know, you don't have to worry about errors and checking the game log, and whenever you've got equipment that's full of errors and stuff, it tends to want to crash the game. I can't tell you how many times I finally had to install a mod that does a game save every 5 minutes, which is really nice. Although now, with Farming Simulator 19, they've got that built in. So when you go into settings, I think you hit escape, and you go over to the settings, and there'll be an option there for a game save. Every 5, 10, or 15 minutes you can set it up. And I believe I heard them say if you hit escape, it automatically saves the game too. So some pretty cool stuff coming with 19. Let's see. We got about 15 minutes left. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get this truck loaded up. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing here. That ought to be pretty good. I'll just go ahead and unstrap and restrap these things. Yep. Didn't get quite close enough. I wonder, does that work? No, that doesn't work. Okay, that's L. That's, yeah. And let's see. Yeah, I can, well, the only bad thing about this machine is because of that bunk back there, it's hard to pick up. Like, I can't pick up those trees back there behind me. So what I'm going to have to do is pull forward, hop in the truck and pull it forward just a little bit, so I can get to that last bunk back there. That should do it. This thing's pretty rock steady too. I mean, if you grab a big load of logs like I just did, you can see the cab's not shaking around too much. think one of the things that FDR worked on real heavy on the last pack that he put out, that version 13 equipment pack, he really dialed in the weights and the suspension, so everything is much steadier now. And that was good to see, because those track machines, I know he's over the course of Farming Simulator 17 anyway. I know he was really working on the weights of those machines, because there's sort of like a fine line of you know, making the machine weigh really heavy, but yet being able to go up the side of mountains and stuff, you know, hills, and the tipping over factor. So I think he really dialed it in with version 13, and I hope going forward we can continue that success. Let's see, I'm gonna spin these around and hopefully put the big ends towards the front this time. That should just about do it. Yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna put on there. So let's get that strapped down. Man, I don't know if I'm getting sick or what, but I don't know, I'm not feeling too good. Alright, let's get this load sold. I'm not going to worry about stockpiling this stuff. I had stockpiled a bunch of logs, and they're just trouble to deal with, because when you get a bunch of logs or trees or whatever in a big pile, your frame rates just go down the tube. And you almost can't do anything. I mean, I was getting like 10 or 15 frames. That's bad. Should be at least 30 to 60. But there's just so many trees in a big pile. It was hard to deal with them. The crane loader wouldn't grab them, or I mean, you had to work really carefully, really slow. You can see I still got some stockpiled over on that side, but I got all the stuff over there. And I'm gonna have to remember that I sold one load of logs, because I've been keeping count of all the number of loads that we make, not counting wood chips, but just counting logs. So I'm gonna have to make a note of that. And let me just switch and turn off all the straps. There we go. Yeah, I have forgotten about the load count on the high-speed logging videos, and so when I do Pacific Inlet high-speed logging videos, I've got the load count up there, so I have to remember to increase that by 1 at the end of that last little segment. But I'll try to make a note of that and get that worked in. Alright, so I'm gonna get turned around. I should be able to do it here. Once my front end catches traction. There we go. And I'm actually going to turn the forwarder around a little bit, or 180 degrees, so I can get the truck loaded. And that should be good about right there. Yeah, so what we'll do is just flip this thing around. I'm gonna go ahead and grab these stray pieces. And we'll throw this one onto that pile. Then we'll go get this one out of the road. probably should grab those and bring them over, but I'm not gonna be able to get them all. Guess I could throw them on the back. Well, didn't even get them all. That's alright. So, just like before, we'll drop them and strap them very quickly. Well, that didn't work out. But that did. We had one get loose. That's alright, we'll just knock him over. Come back for him later. And let's grab these last three. See, now we're definitely kind of doing double work. Picking up these that were already processed, loading them, then we'll have to unload them again. Oh well. Yep, so I'll just drive up to this pile and we'll get that next time. Well, actually, we'll be doing it in high-speed login number 8. You just have to watch it there. Let's see. Yeah, see, my frame rate was pretty low there. I thought it was. It's those big piles of logs. Alright, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here today. And I'm going to get a good screenshot here before we head off. Well, close out the game, I guess. I should have grabbed one when I had the truck loaded, but oh well. We'll do that. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Well, it's sort of my countdown to Farming Simulator 19. I wanted to show off this map and where we're at because this was the first, basically the first login map that I was aware of anyway that came out for Farming Simulator 17, and we have been trying to cut this whole map down, except for, you know, a few little places we talked about around the ponds and lakes and stuff and rivers. But anyway, trying to cut down the whole map, and I'm going to continue on with this series well into Farming Simulator 19 until I reach a point to where either I'll just get tired of playing Pacific Inlet, or we cut down everything that I want to cut down, which I think we can do it. In fact, I know we can. It's just going to take time to get it done. But alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get a screenshot here, and we will see you on, let's see, we will see you on Monday for sure. Am I doing anything? Oh yeah, today is Friday as I'm recording this. Okay, yeah. So we'll see you on Monday. And Monday will be Dodson logging. I'm going to be doing sort of an overview of that because that's my first map that I put out for Farming Simulator 17. So we'll show that off a little bit and kind of talk about it and what all I went through to make that map. And that was my first map for Farming Simulator 17. So kind of another little showcase map before we head off to Farming Simulator 19. But and then Tuesday, hopefully if I get 19 installed, we'll do a live stream that afternoon. Otherwise we'll do it probably Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon sometime. We'll maybe I can get some forestry going and we can kind of see that and check out the new maps. And then also, let's see, well, Thursday and Friday of Thanksgiving, that's Thanksgiving here in the U.S. is Thursday, and so Thursday and Friday will not have any videos, and we'll see you again on Monday after the Thanksgiving holiday. So, hope y'all enjoyed, have a good one, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will see you, well, I guess Monday, yep, Monday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.